only 2 things that you take away from this video, let it be the next 2 tips that I'm about to offer you. I have been wanting to do a tutorial on how to interpret an oracle card for a while now. Hi, my name is Katie and I have been reading oracle cards for about 20 years and tarot within the last 5 years. I'm also a creator of my own sets. And in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you my style of interpretation of an oracle card. So after this, hopefully you'll confidently be able to read any oracle cards. So let's get started. I would encourage you to grab a notebook and a pen to take notes. Not only for this session, but for future sessions with your tarot and your oracle cards. A notebook is a great way to track your development and also to build a relationship with your cards, which is incredibly important. Another aspect of this, which I learned, I can't remember, was something to do with goal setting. There's a psychological thing that happens when you write something down. When you do this for manifestation, for goal setting, it's actually better for you to put pen to paper and to physically write it down because your brain will commit that more to your memory. So that's just a little tip that I would offer you. There are a couple of ground rules that I like to set when I'm doing a oracle or tarot card reading, and that is your environment. Now, your environment is incredibly important because ideally you want it to be free from any distractions. If the TV's blaring in the background, the kids are running around, or you've got a pile of washing that you're like, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. Try and make sure that you are in an area free from distraction, because when you are distracted or you've got too much going on in the background, you may not hear the messages come through clearly. Because when you are distracted or you've got too much going on in the background, you may not hear the messages come through clearly. So that's tip 1, your environment counts. Now, I may sound like a bit of a contradiction here, but I actually often take my cards to a cafe. Now, I'm confident with doing readings in busy, noisy areas because I form such a good relationship with my cards, and I'm very good at focusing in on what I'm doing and shutting out the noise. So hopefully you'll get to a point where you're able to do that, but ideally your environment is very important. Step 2, what is your emotional state? Ideally, when you are reading cards, you do not want to be in a heightened state of emotion. They say when your emotions are high, your logic and your reasoning goes out the window. And so ideally, you want to be in a clear state of mind when you're reading the cards. And a little bit of an example that I'm going to give you. In my early 20s, I relied heavily on my cards for when I was going through relationship breakups and stuff like that. This is my first set. And in the set, there is an actual yes card. And so I would shuffle when I was really upset and I'd keep pulling cards until I got the yes card. Don't do that. Because that's just not the right way to read oracle cards. So ideally you want to be in a clear state of mind, and you do not really want to be under the influence of any substances, just because when the messages are coming through, whether from your intuition, your higher self, or if you believe in spirit speaking to you and your spirit guides, you may not hear the messages clearly. So ideally you want to be in a very good, calm, neutral state. Cool, so let's get started. If there are only 2 things that you take away from this video, let it be the next 2 tips that I'm about to offer you when it comes to reading oracle and tarot cards. I learned these only in the last 10 years, and they have helped me so much when it comes to interpreting both oracle and tarot cards. Now, the method and the style that I like to use is focusing on flexing your intuition. Now, it has been my personal mission for the last 5 years to really strengthen my intuition. Now, most oracle cards and tarot cards come with a guidebook. Now, I like to encourage you to try and not use that and really flex your intuition and have that as your last ditch effort. Tip number 1, your first thought is your best thought. Now, what I mean by that is the first thing that comes to your mind when you see the card is something that you need to pay attention to. Usually our intuition acts a split second before our logical mind comes on in. So go with your first thought. Even if it's really obscure, write that down. Earlier on in the year, I did a psychic development course with a very renowned psychic medium. And she spoke about not disregarding any weird messages that come up, no matter how obscure they are. She said, write them all down. They may not make sense for you right now, but they may make sense for you down the track. So if it's brown cow or monkey, write it down because it may have some form of significance for you. So remember, your first thought is your best thought. Tip number 2 is look to where your eye falls first. So basically, what captures your attention first? And you've probably seen on social media those posts where it's a picture of a woman that looks like a witch or a young woman. With oracle cards and tarot cards, that's ideally what you want to focus on. Where does your eye go first? And it could be a word, it could be a number, it could be a color, it could be a bee, or whatever your eye is drawn to and where your attention is first, focus on that. Because your intuition, your higher self or spirit is going, this is what we want you to look at. And once you focus on that, the whole picture will come into view. And if it doesn't, that's when you pull this out. But ideally, like I said, last ditch effort. All right, so let's interpret an oracle card. So I'm going to use cards from my oracle set Mirror of the Soul. I'm going to shuffle the cards. So I'm doing this in real time with you guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up the card. I'm going to hold it there for a little while. And then I'm going to give you my interpretation of the card. Now I'm going to have to turn this bokeh effect off because the card doesn't get picked up when I have the blur on. So bear with me for a second. So I'm going to shuffle the cards in real time so you know I'm not cheating. I'm going to hold the card up and then I want you to just look at the card and remember, first thought, best thought, and look to where your eye falls first. So we've got our card. Oh, that's my favorite card. Just have a look and see what really jumps out at you. Might do a longer pause, but so I'm going to read the card with you now. Straight away, what I'm drawn to is the ocean. Now, for me, I love being by the ocean, and the ocean for me makes me feel expansive. Then I notice that there is a woman standing on the edge of the rocks. There's also the word leap of faith, fides, which is, how ironic, is the tattoo that I've got on me. So she's actually the inspiration behind my tattoo. Story from another time. But you've got the word leap of faith. She's standing overlooking the ocean on a cliff. We've also got the number 37. So 3 plus 7, if you're into numerology, equals 10. And you whittle that down to a single number, that means 1. For me, this means a new beginning. And Fides, if you know who she is the goddess of faith. So this card is saying, you know, take that leap of faith. The feeling that I got from the ocean is expansiveness. Now, it might be different for you, but for me, when I'm around the ocean, I feel very free. Whatever the situation or the question that you have, it's saying, yes, take that leap of faith, whatever it is. Also, part of this card, there is white there. Now, these cards are color-coded. So you've got that color there, which is green, which symbolizes the element of earth. The white one symbolizes the element of air. So air is usually associated with communication, intellect, making intellectual decisions. And she's basically saying, have faith, take a leap of faith. So that's one card. Now you could ask that one question, pull one card and get your answer straight off the bat. But how I like to read cards is if I feel like I need to grab another card, this is where you could grab another card from the set, or you can intermingle tarot cards just to get a little bit more clarity on what you need to do moving forward with this card. So what I'm going to do, put her down. I'm going to grab the cards. and I'm going to show you how the cards talk to each other. Because by pulling a second card, which you don't have to do, it kind of adds another layer to the reading. So we've got Leap of Faith. I found a card that I really quite like. I'm going to hold it up. Oh, I got two cards. I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to hold it up. And so straight away, this card says growth. And what I'm drawn to is the word. So this pictured here is Persephone. And depending on what your eye's drawn to, it might be the roses, it might be the archway, it might be the beautiful woman in the middle, the colors, the number. The number we've got 45 is 9, and 9 usually means endings, which is kind of ironic because this is a card of new beginnings and this means endings. So in order for you to grow, you need to take that leap of faith. Something's coming to an end, but you're going to grow through it, and spirit, universe, your inner self is saying just go for it. The thing is it's subject and open to interpretation. How you read the cards is completely up to you. Now we might look at the same thing and see something completely different. I will do one other example with you. I'm going to say a word. So I'm going to say lemon. Now for you, you might go sour, or you might smell the lemon zest. You might think of a lemon cheesecake. You might think of the color yellow. The thing is one thing can have so many different interpretations, and that's the same as reading an oracle card or a tarot card. You have to base it on what comes up for you first. So yeah, that's my little mini tutorial on how to read oracle cards. And just to bring it all home, remember your first thought is your best thought, and look to where your eye falls first. Practice makes progress, and the more you do it and the more that you practice on your friends and family, the better you're going to get. Anyways, love and light, and thank you so much for watching. Mwah.